The following video will contain spoilers. You have been warned. All alterations to the manga panels and images have been made in order to prevent copyright. So yeah, let's get started.
What is up guys, Beto here, and I only have one question after reading the latest chapter of Attack on Titan, and that is Zeke Yeager sterile? Because otherwise, why in the hell does Historia have to be the royal that is reproducing kids when Zeke is perfectly fit? Well, not perfectly, but you get the idea. He would definitely be jumping at the chance of spreading his seed as he pleases before his timely demise, since he certainly will not be getting any action where he currently is, surrounded by nothing but sweet, minty, healthy, and pine as far as the eye can see. A full-blooded, unadulterated Chris-gasm, if you will. But seriously, why aren't the higher-ups of Paradise Island seeking out women that would be willing to volunteer for the job of bearing a child of Zeke's? They could even spin it as a patriotic call to action. Will you answer the call of duty and accept thy pipeth for thy Eldian nation? Or just be upfront about it? We need your clan for thy Eldian nation. You down or what? We can easily have 100 of these little royal bastards running around if they were truly worried of the royal families getting targeted and assassinated. So that would have been a really great contingency plan for them to have had in the back of their hands. But alright guys, enough about that. Let's get on with the real question you all want the answer to. Who is the father of Historia's child? In other words, who is the lucky son of a bitch who smashed Historia? Well, to tell you guys the truth, I've been doing a lot of research for this video, and to show you guys how serious I was, I even made a chart of the potential baby daddies for Historia. Now, as you can see, there are 4 options. Let's get down to it. Number 1, Eren Yeager. Eren was given a 40% likelihood of having smashed because he is clearly the closest male friend to Historia. You know what? Scratch that. The closest person, period, to Historia. I know that Historia went off and said some shit about her being close to Mikasa because they both share a heavy burden that comes with a lot of responsibility for having just been born, but Historia was just high on the moment after hearing about Mikasa's royal lineage. Don't get me wrong, Mikasa and Historia probably became great friends during the 4 years of the time skip, but with this chapter it is very obvious that Eren is the person who clearly has the greatest affection and care for Historia. He vehemently refused to follow Zeke's third condition of having the Beast Titan be passed down to a person with royal blood, which the role would automatically be designated to Historia, seeing as she is the only royal around besides Zeke, a fact that Eren really does not like. He wished to find a better way, a way in which Historia would not need to be sacrificed. Guys, real talk, even if Eren does not turn out to be the father of Historia's child, there is no way you guys can deny that Eren cares deeply for Historia, to the point that he was willing to infiltrate Marley and jumpstart a war with them, all in order to gain more military power for Paradise while at the same time weakening Marley's military, with the hope of ending the conflict sooner rather than later so that Historia would not have to inherit the Beast Titan. Hanji throughout moments of this chapter kept a close watch on Eren as he interacted with Historia, because she was also feeling that thick sexual tension between these two. She had hoped to exploit Eren's feelings for Historia when she came out and said, "Do you no longer care what happens to Historia?" This confirmed that Hanji believes something was up or is up between Eren and Historia. You don't say something like that to a man in itself for no goddamn good reason. Now, if you guys are not satisfied with this Eren section, just go watch my 7 reasons to ship Eren and Historia, and you will see why if Eren turns out to be the father, it will not be an out of nowhere move by Isayama. It had actual built up. Now, Levi Ackerman. Levi was chosen and given a 15% chance of having smashed merely because he was the second closest male to Historia right before the time skip. Levi was a very important person when it came to Historia stepping up to becoming queen. She really did not want to have to shoulder that burden, but Levi admittedly very forcefully helped Historia put aside her fear and take up the mantle. They even shared an extremely unusual moment with Levi laughing after Historia hit him. The most important fact I would like to note about Levi's relationship with Historia is that in chapter 70, he helped her construct and set up an orphanage where they rounded up all the troubled and starving orphan children of the underground district in order to provide them with an opportunity of a better life. This cause hit close to home with Levi, seeing as he himself grew up in the underground. Now, on a side note, guys, I personally believe that Historia's current location, as of the end of chapter 107, is probably that very orphanage she started up with the funds of the royal family, because remember, the orphanage was set up on a farm, and the scenery in the background of that location looks awfully familiar. But yeah, that's it for Levi. I know he probably is not the father, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Plus, he's in his 30s, so I don't think he would be down for that, and I don't think Historia is tall enough to meet Levi's liking. Now, the third option is Floch. Floch was chosen as a potential candidate only because you guys brought it to my attention that Hajime Isayama had apparently once said in an interview that Floch would play an important role. So I went looking for the interview to see the quote for myself, and it turned out to be a statement he made in an autograph and Q&A session he held on March 3rd of this year in Ayoma, Oita. So it was pretty recent. Isayama was responding to a fan's question of, will Floch be the cause of anything later in the manga? Where Isayama responded with, yup, he will play a very important role. And this makes you really wonder, who the hell would be asking about Floch? Of all the things you can ask, when you have Hajime motherfreaking Isayama right there, you choose to ask about Floch? Humanity will never cease to amaze me. So yeah, based on the information, I pretty much decided to add Floch to the chart of potential father candidates and gave him a 10% chance of having smashed, because I still see him as a far-fetched choice, especially when you keep in mind that Historia never really interacted with this foo, as well as the fact that Isayama had a disclaimer to his Q&A sessions, and it is that ultimately the story resembles a living creature in the way it evolves. My questions during this autograph event are just some of all the possibilities that can happen. I hope you can ask questions while having this idea in mind. So this basically means that whatever he says during his Q&A sessions is not to be taken as concrete facts that are set in stone and will definitely come into fruition within the story. They are just the thoughts he has at that moment when he was asked the question. He reserves the right to change his mind on whether or not to use any ideas he has publicly talked about and stated to fans. So this Floch thing can happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean he will do it. Plus the thing he had in store for Floch can end up being something completely different, like maybe he manages to kill one of the Marley escapee kids. He was already completely down to kill them after Gabby shot Sasha. Which will it be, Gabby or Falco? Please let it be Gabby, I really don't like her. But yeah, moving on. The fourth option, which is a random scrub, aka the NTR route. If it does turn out to be a random guy, then it would probably be that guy at the end of the chapter who was calling Historia back inside the house. This, in my opinion, would be the lamest and saddest of the options. Well, it would actually still be tied with Floch's option, since he's just a discount gene in my opinion. But yeah, I would hate for this to be the option, since this would necessarily mean that Eren was NTR'd by a fucking scrub, which is one of the biggest and fattest L's an anime character can ever receive. And I gave this one a 35% chance of happening because Isayama recently has been introducing a lot of new characters, and this might just be him continuing that trend. So yeah, if you guys want to further discuss this, then comment down below what you guys think is going on. Who do you think is the father? Do you agree or disagree with me? I would love to hear what you have to say. Rate the video, share it around, subscribe to this channel if you guys are new. I would really appreciate it. And as always, people, stay gold!